Okay, Tom Hogue with Jon Wells. We're chatting about the spotlight on an experiment that provides some individuals in the city with a sum of money. John, there's some obvious points of concern here, and it has attracted a little bit of international attention because these individuals are in a de facto fishbowl, and they're even being prepared for the possible media reaction to that.
That's right, yeah, and that was sort of the angle of the story. I mean, this basic income program that the province is exploring, a pilot project, 3-year pilot project in Hamilton, has been called, at least by a local guy, the sort of the epicenter of the program, with participants who are living in poverty, receiving this basic income to spend as they see fit, kind of thing, and then they measure the results and see if it works better than conventional social assistance. But it's sort of, with great power comes great responsibility, and so now you have these participants who are in the media spotlight in the U.S. and beyond, that who have there's been stories now about the program and about some Hamiltonians who are taking part in it.
The organizers are well aware of the risks, and you mentioned media. So you mentioned Fox has taken a bit of an interest in this. Is that one of the outliers here that maybe media scrutiny is on?
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes we think about social policy exploration and pilot projects as being rather sort of dry material that doesn't get much attention. They try, at the spec, they try to get attention from reporters to do stories about these issues and what's being investigated and surveys. But here we have this sort of a relatively sexy topic in terms of what the New York Post dubbed giving away money for free to people, but
it is giving away money, and the results have yet to be seen, and that's right. What will be studied.
Oh, and you know what? It's one of those things where it's a clever headline because it's true. It is money being given away, no strings attached. With that can come some stigma, depending on your point of view, and this is what. Tom Cooper with the local Roundtable on Poverty was concerned that participants locally would now start getting calls from journalists in the States, perhaps journalists from places like Fox or what have you, not to tar and feather them completely, but they're concerned that reporters might call them up, take advantage of them if there's a slant they're taking to the story, that this is a negative thing, that this is something to be made fun of in some way, and that the people will be
prejudging it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a scientific experiment. It's a social scientific experiment. Have we seen anything like this done in your experience locally?
I don't think not in Hamilton. I mean, certainly out in Manitoba, apparently there was a big experiment done like this back in the 70s or 80s, I believe, and it didn't become official policy. Other countries have experimented with somewhat, but this is new here. And they held they called it a media boot camp session out at Mohawk for participants to, I guess, give them a dry run on questions that might be asked and how to present themselves to reporters so that they wouldn't be so they wouldn't be made fun of. I mean, as reporters, we deal with people all the time from all different walks of life. You're always trying to address the people with nuance and sensitivity to their situation, no matter who they are. And I don't know. I'd like to think that my colleagues in the U.S., whether they work for Fox or CNN or MSNBC or anybody, would wear that hat when dealing with people they're interviewing. But I guess that's the concern, anyways.
That's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the amount. $17,000. It's not a staggering sum. This isn't. This still is an amount that would need to be managed.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that number is seen as high or low by these observers right now?
Good question. I mean, as you say, it's not a staggering amount. I believe I was told that it could go as high. You could, if you're making money, if you have a job of sorts already. You could make up to $24,000 in terms of combining the basic income you receive with no strings attached with your own income. So your take-home income could go as high as $24,000. But this is a very small amount of money, and I think to the extent if it's couched in that sort of way that it's they're just they're rolling in the dough to blow on lottery tickets or whatever stereotype you want to choose. It's not much money at all. It's the one woman I talked about being able to buy a winter coat to feel warm in the cold snap we had, and rolling a mohawk. I mean, we're talking about, as the activists say locally, dignity and. I guess, it's the slippery slope. Someone could look at it and say, well, yeah, that sounds great, but you know what? Should every citizen receive $17,000 as a minimum? What does that do to motivation for people to want to get ahead, get jobs? But I think poverty activists would say it's about providing people who really don't have much of a recourse to really live with dignity and to eat healthy and all that sort of thing, to giving them the basics that they need. And it's something that, as I mentioned the story, I think I mentioned the story, or I wanted to mention the story, that Richard Nixon came close to pushing one of these programs through Congress back in the 70s, what they would call the Guaranteed Income Program, I believe, and it fell at the last sort of minute kind of thing. So some say it crosses all political lines, and in fact, Tom Cooper talked about how it can get criticism from the right and the left. People from the right talking about it being free handouts and it hurts motivation and that sort of thing, and people from the left saying, well, this is just a sop to capitalism, to keep the capital system going, that we need more fundamental change than just giving people money. So it's interesting that they get it from both sides. So in terms of these participants being picked on by media, they may be getting it from MSNBC as much as Fox, I suppose.
We're going to check in with you as this program develops. Thanks for your time, Jon.
Anytime, Tom.